It was a cold Friday evening, the kind that settles not just in your bones, but in your soul. I was worn thin, every inch of me aching from the week's relentless grind. My mind was foggy, my body heavy, but I stayed up anyway. Laura, my wife, had insisted on having friends over. Just a casual gathering, she'd said. I didn't want to disappoint her, so I told myself I'd make an appearance, smile where it counted, then disappear into the bedroom to collapse in peace. The doorbell rang, and in they came, her circle of friends, loud and full of energy. Our living room lit up with chatter, laughter, clinking glasses. Laura was in her element, magnetic, dazzling. She floated through the room like she owned the night, telling stories, cracking jokes, drawing every pair of eyes toward her like she always could. Her laughter rang out like music, louder with each passing drink, her smile growing wider, wilder. I tried to engage, I really did, but the fatigue was like a weight on my chest. I sank into the corner of the couch, watching the scene unfold like an outsider in my own home. The drinks kept coming, the laughter rising, sharp with mockery and inside jokes I didn't understand anymore. Laura thrived in it, soaking up the attention like it was air and she'd been suffocated without it. Then it happened. Someone made a sarcastic comment about relationships, something bitter meant to sting. Laura laughed, not just a chuckle, but a full-throated, exaggerated laugh that felt too sharp, too pointed. Her eyes flicked toward me, and for a split second, I saw something that didn't belong in the woman I once loved. A glint of cruelty, a flash of danger. And then, before I could process it, she raised her hand and slapped me, right there, in front of everyone. The sound cracked through the room, louder than any laughter. My cheeks stung instantly, the heat of the blow burning under my skin. But the shock was worse. Her friends roared. Some howled. Others giggled, whispering to each other how bold she was. I sat there, frozen, surrounded by amusement, as if I were nothing more than a clown in a show I never auditioned for. I looked at Laura. She just smiled, proud, triumphant. "Come on, it's just a joke," she said lightly, brushing it off like a speck of dust. But it wasn't a joke. Not to me. Not ever. I stood up slowly and walked out of the room, locking myself in the bedroom. I stood in front of the mirror, fingers grazing the reddened side of my face. My own reflection looked back at me with a mix of disbelief and quiet devastation. How did we get here? When did the woman I married turn into someone who could humiliate me for a cheap laugh? When did I become the punchline in my own relationship? I thought of the slow erosion over the past year, the emotional distance, the way she stopped asking about my day, how she seemed bored when I spoke, the night she came home late with vague excuses, the hushed phone calls that ended when I entered the room, the constant dismissal in her eyes. I had chalked it up to stress, work, life. I made excuses, because that's what you do when you love someone. But love without respect is nothing. That night, I barely slept. My mind ran in circles, through memories, through every moment I overlooked, every warning I ignored. That slap wasn't just about pain. It was a breaking point, a brutal, public confirmation of what I had refused to see. The next morning, I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I sat her down. I looked her straight in the eyes and told her, "I won't let you treat me like a joke. Not in front of your friends. Not in private. Not ever." She scoffed, arms crossed like a petulant child. "You're overreacting," she said, rolling her eyes. "It was just a slap. Get over yourself." And in that moment, whatever thread of hope I had left snapped. No apology, no remorse, just coldness, contempt. That's when I knew there was no salvaging this. No amount of time or therapy could bring back what she had crushed under her heel that night. So I made the hardest choice of my life. I filed for divorce. It wasn't easy. She didn't take it quietly. She twisted the narrative, told her friends I was distant, that I was emotionally unstable, that I was abandoning her. She tried to play the victim, painting me in shades of cruelty I had never worn. But I stayed calm. I didn't sling mud. I didn't stoop. I got a good lawyer, presented the facts, and ensured the process was fair. She got what she was owed, but not a cent more. I refused to let her take another piece of me. Not after everything. Months passed. The papers were signed. The damage was permanent. But so was the freedom. And then, out of the blue, Laura called. She said she wanted to talk, that she missed me, that maybe we could try again. But I wasn't the same man she'd slapped in front of a room full of people. I had rebuilt myself from the rubble she left behind. I told her, calmly and without hesitation, "You cross a line you can't come back from. I've started a new chapter, one that has no room for disrespect." She didn't reply. She hung up, and just like that, I was free. That night, humiliating as it was also the moment that saved me. It forced me to stop pretending, stop tolerating, stop shrinking myself to fit into a relationship that had stopped nurturing me long ago. It taught me that love without respect is just a pretty lie, and I refuse to live inside a lie any longer. Now I live in peace. I wake up without the weight of walking on eggshells. I eat dinner without feeling invisible. I smile without forcing it. I reclaim not just my dignity, but my future. And as for Laura, she'll remember that night, but not because of the slap, because the man she thought she could humiliate simply stood up and walked away, and never looked back.